A dramatic arrest of one of the once powerful men in Botswana, former intelligence chief eNCA. He was apprehended in full view of cameras, in front of his family as well, and members of the public at the Sir Seretse Khama International Airport. Kgosi returned from India last Wednesday, and despite his attempts to negotiate a smooth arrest, Kgosi was handcuffed and whisked away. The charges he faces: tax evasion. To make sense of the politics around Kgosi's arrest, we joined on the line from Gaborone in Botswana by Dr. Gladys Mokhawa, political science lecturer at the University of Botswana. It's very good to have you with us. What happened?
Thank you very much.
What went down that day? What's going on here?
Well, it was quite a shock to all of us as well. And I'm definitely sure you're aware that the former Director General of Intelligence, former Colonel Isaac Kgosi, had been let off by the new president in May 2018. So subsequent to that, we haven't had anything with regard to his whereabouts or what was happening to him. It was only until last week Wednesday that Isaac Kgosi, was arrested at Botswana Seretse Khama Airport on his arrival to a supposedly holiday.
And tell me why it was such a shock. I mean, he, I gather, was admired and feared in equal measure.
Well, like I said, since his departure from his office, it has been quiet. No one has not been making any reference to what he probably was up to. And then all of a sudden, we hear that he's been arrested when there hasn't been anything to the indication that he was under, he was under any investigation whatsoever. So it came to a shock as a result of that. But obviously, more importantly as well, as you rightly point out, no one would actually thought that a man powerful as he was, anyone could even dare to actually arrest him.
And as you say, people were shocked at what played out. What do you think the political impact of this is?
Well, a lot has been happening in Botswana, with regard to obviously the transition from one leader to the next as well, in terms of what was going on, whether, pitting the former president against the current president as well from a political point of view. But obviously the attention has obviously been on that particular kind of transition, and supposedly, can I say that we're not getting along? Mildly putting it
yeah.
in that particular.
I mean, Khama and Masisi, they just, as you said, they don't get on well. What's the problem there?
Well, the problem basically is not the other one's not allowing, the former president not allowing the current president to continue doing his work. So he has been making some utterances as well, which obviously plays him squarely in terms of, governing machinery and processes as well. So this is why a lot of people were saying that he's not giving the new president enough leeway to actually put a stamp on his leadership.
I mean, I guess it makes sense that Masisi then put in his own head of security, isn't it? Intelligence.
Yes, definitely. Well, I also teach security studies. From security point of view, it actually does make sense for the new president to bring his own director general rather than actually take over the one that was the president before, for obvious reasons, for security reasons, because at the end of the day, the director general serves governments of the day. So you have a new leader who presides over a new government. Well, not necessarily a new government, new leadership or new regime in terms of Botswana's political dispensation. So it obviously makes sense that he would want to come with his own group of people that he wants to work with.
I mean, you always think of Botswana as just one of the most peaceful, stable countries in Africa, and clearly it is. But this kind of shaking it up, I mean, what sort of impact does it have on stability? Are people concerned that there's something else at play?
Yeah, quite a number of people are concerned about how this thing is ultimately going to play out. But I guess the events happening are a testimony to, obviously, the stability and the peace in this country. Clearly, if somebody is suspected, obviously, of tax evasion, because that's what the current Director General was saying, and
Hello, Gladys Mokhawa? Oh, I lost you there for a minute. Sorry, I lost you there for a minute. Carry on.
Okay. Yes, I was saying that for me, events happening in Botswana are testimony of the stability and the peace that the country has enjoyed. Because if somebody is suspected of actually having been involved in some tax evasion or corruption, as the current Director General was saying, then clearly he needs to be arrested and investigated.
Of course.
For whatever transgressions that the person has been involved in. So no one is above the law and no one is special. So and I think that Kgosi is also not special, nor is he above the law as well.
I guess so that's certainly one way of making that point. So you say that Khama, is obviously getting involved in the politics and maybe he's sort of reluctant to walk away totally. What sort of impact is that having on getting business done, daily business done, governance?
Well, definitely there is an answer in your question. Clearly, this has made it very difficult for the current president, Masisi, to continue on, continue with governing and even putting a stamp in terms of his government, but more importantly, in terms of really, really giving us an agenda in terms of what he wants to do, because there has been this overshadowing of conspiracies of what Khama's agenda is and stuff like that. So newsreels have been about that. So people have not necessarily been talking about what is it that Masisi is trying to offer, in terms of his governance strategy, in terms of, how he wants to govern the country, basically. So it has just been obviously what has Khama said and what has Masisi said. So it's been about that.
And I'm always surprised to hear about the voter apathy in the country.
Yeah.
How come people don't go to the polls? Do they feel that the decision's already been made for them? Is it a signal that they're happy with the way the country is performing?
Well, it's actually the opposite of that. It's usually a signal that they are really tired of politics as well. But it's a self-defeating exercise as well, because if you're tired, the best thing is to go to the polls and change the government. But at the end of the day, so quite a number of people are saying, well, we know that the DDP is going to win the election, so what's the point of really going to vote? Obviously, voter apathy has a lot to do with quite a lot of other issues, but this seems to be one of the other issues that really comes much more prominently in terms of analysis in Botswana.
Well, certainly fascinating events. Gladys Mokhawa, thank you very much for talking to us about that.